really excited, to be honest, to introduce our keynote speaker. I've really been impressed personally by this person because I've been having conversations with her as we planned for this event. So I believe you all will be inspired as well afterwards. We have her bio in the program, but I do want to call out a couple of things because, again, I have just been super impressed, so be patient with me. So Smriti Gandhi is a sophomore at the University of Houston Honors College, majoring in Honors Biomedical Sciences at the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics, and she plans to attend medical school. Ms. Gandhi has done scientific research and presented her work in many fields. In 2018, she won the 2018 Science and Engineering Fair of Houston Grand Award for Physical Science and placed fourth at the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair in Pittsburgh. Ms. Gandhi made a TED talk about her science fair project and experience entitled Living Energy, Bioluminescent Bacteria in Solar Cells. She also submitted her project manuscript to the College Board for the AP research course and was among 1% of all test takers to earn a perfect score. Super impressive. As a University of Houston STEM Center student leader, she encourages students to never let anyone tell them what they can't do and to never quit on their dreams. Smriti, I'm really, really happy to have you here to give us the keynote. And I've been involved with YWE for 5 years, so my data was going to be for 5 years. You are the youngest keynote speaker we have had. Super impressive, so thank you.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
Great.
Am I in the right place? This is Young Women Energized. Where's that energy? Let me hear it again. There we go. All right. First off, I'd like to congratulate Wynn for being the World Oil Award winner for Best Outreach Program. Big round of applause for Wynn. Awesome. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be here in front of you all today. And before I tell you a little bit about myself, I'd like to share a quote with you. Going to be super cliche. And this is something that my grandmother always told me. And I swear this writer just happened to get famous off of it first. So missed opportunity there, but that's okay, Grandma. Here it is. You cannot do anything unless you allow your passion, your energy, to motivate you. People may tell you you can do it, you can make it, it's possible. But when you tell yourself, I can't make it, it's your choice that rules everything. Today I'm not here to tell you that you can do it or that you're gonna make it. You're gonna tell yourself that you can make it and that you can do it. You're gonna tell yourself that you can energize your future. So every time I point at you like this, you're gonna say, yes I can. What are you gonna say?
Yes, I
can. Nice. So before I tell you to randomly,
Yes, I
I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Smriti Gandhi, and I'm a sophomore at the University of Houston. More about that later. I am an International Science and Engineering Fair, or ISEF, winner. I actually submitted a science fair project on solar energy to the Houston Fair, which happens at the University of Houston main campus. And from there, I was chosen to represent the United States at this global competition in Pittsburgh, and let me tell you, it was a blast. I honestly think it was one of the best weeks of my life. The week after that, busy month, I was chosen to give a TED Talk on my project, which you can now find on YouTube. Today I'm going to be giving you a more interactive version of this talk, but if you're interested, I highly encourage you to look me up, and like every YouTuber, swipe up and subscribe and leave me a like. As you can see from this high quality photo taken by none other than the iPhone 11, of course. My journey as a scientist didn't begin with ISF. It kind of started when I was a little girl. I always knew I wanted to be a STEM kind of gal. It became my dream, and I used science fair as a means to live out this dream. Science fair challenged my thinking and pushed me to be my best. But if I'm being honest, science fair wasn't really always my best friend. In the beginning, I was rarely recognized for my work, and that was really frustrating. Some years I couldn't find a sponsor, or I couldn't get a lab, or I didn't have the funds to do a good project. And of course, being a young woman in STEM isn't easy. As you can see here, I was the only girl from my school to advance to the International Science Fair, and that alone brought along its own challenges. But I kept coming back year after year, and that's because I valued the scientific community, and I valued the scientific process. Every time I considered backing out and doubted myself, I went back to my dream. I told myself, in the face of any hardship,
Yes, I can.
thank you. I was able to push the negativity out and clear my head. I came up with this brilliant project. So without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, I skipped a page. All right, so I know nobody in this room was expecting a pop quiz, but I do have a couple of questions to ask you all before I get into the researchy stuff. Just through a show of hands, how many people here see solar panels in use on a daily basis? Every single day. All right. Now, how many people actually have solar panels installed in their own homes and use energy that they provide? One person. Wow, thank you. And the reason why we don't see a lot of solar panels installed in people's homes today is because they're expensive, they're inefficient, we gotta have lots of them to produce the teeniest amount of energy, and they require a lot of external resources to be able to function properly, and this requires more time, more installation time, more money, and more resources to be spent on things like cooling systems to get them to be able to function properly. And this is gonna come as a little bit of a surprise to you maybe, but the sun isn't always out, and solar panels aren't really of much use during the night. Big shocker, I know. But don't fear, that's why I'm here. I believed in myself. I said, yes, I can. And I created a sustainable, user-friendly solution to these problems, which I'll talk more about in just a little bit. Before that, I'd like to discuss the reason why we all should turn to renewable energy and where my interest in solar energy comes from, quite literally overseas in India. So my family and I decided to go back to the motherland for vacation and an entire decade after we had left. And I remember just being so excited to go back, but once I got to the airport, I stepped out and the air was weighing down on me, it was pushing me back, and the culprit was fossil fuels. After doing some research, I found out that India's pollution levels, especially in urban areas, were much higher than the global average. The number of people, the number of cars, the number of factories in India is leading to air problems, which in turn is causing breathing problems, cancer, habitat degradation, global climate change, and more. I'm sure you're aware of many of these problems that pollution causes, and that's because pollution isn't a problem that only India faces. In fact, it's something that we face globally. So that's why we turn our attention to renewable energy. With renewable energy, such as solar power, there's no pollution, there's no byproducts, there's no extra stuff going into the air we breathe. It's safer, it's inexhaustible, it's healthier, it's better for the environment. But as I said before, solar power doesn't produce enough energy to be considered economically feasible. And that brings us to my solution to this problem, a new and improved version of the solar panel, something I call the bioluminescent solar concentrator. Now, I'm sure that you all know what this is anyway, so I'm just gonna head out. I'm kidding, I'm gonna explain it. What this is a piece of glass with a small solar cell attached on this side. There's a thin film of bioluminescent or glow-in-the-dark bacteria on top of the glass. To understand how this unit of quite weird items works together though, we're gonna have to start off with each of the individual parts, starting off with the bacteria. Bacteria are living organisms which we can't necessarily see with our eyes. There are tons of them everywhere though. Our bodies are walking, talking houses of bacteria. For the purposes of my study, I used perfectly safe E. coli. Oh, you're still here. Yeah, whenever I say E. coli, people just run out the door like, I don't want to listen to this lady. But trust me, it's absolutely safe. It's actually safer than the E. coli we find in our own bodies and our own guts. So to start, this E. coli wasn't glow in the dark, it was just plain old E. coli. To make it glow in the dark, the bacteria's DNA was cut up, which I did personally, and the gene for glowing was added in. And voila, we have our bioluminescent bacteria. Now, of course, there's a lot more science to it, but for now, I guess that's all we really need to know. Moving on to the glass layer. This special type of glass is sanded down on all layers except for the side where the light is coming in and the side with the solar panel on it. This was so that any light that came into the glass stayed there and wouldn't find its way out until it got to the solar panel. And the solar panel, speaking of the solar panel, that brings us to our final component. Solar panels take light energy coming from the sun and they change it into electricity that we can actually use. Current solar panels, however, are only about 17% efficient according to MIT. This means that they are converting 17% of the sunlight that hits them into energy that we can use, and that is almost nothing. During the night, solar panels are practically useless. Not only that, solar panels, as I mentioned previously, require external resources like cooling systems to be able to function properly. But this solution requires only a small adhesive solar panel, so we don't need a cooling system, it's not going to burn out, and it requires very little space. So now it is time to piece all of these components together. What we have here is light hitting the bioluminescent bacteria, and the bioluminescent bacteria is glowing. Then the glowing bacteria re-emits that light at a greater wavelength, greater intensity into the glass layer. The glass, with its physical properties being sanded down on all sides, streamlines that extra amount of light towards the mini panel on the side. The solar panel then changes this concentrated light into energy that we can use. So after 5 years of coming up with this idea, modifying it to be as effective as it can be, hours of testing and telling myself, yes, the amount of power in comparison to solar panels we see out in the market right now. During the night, it actually quadruples this amount, and that's because the bacteria are the only source of visible light. So in the laboratory setting, we've seen that this product works great. But what about out in the real world? Can this system work in reality? The answer is yes. In addition to simply being attached on roofs of houses and buildings like current solar panel models, this bioluminescent solar concentrator can be embedded into the average window. So the system can be flipped on its side and the glass of the window serves as the glass of the concentrator. There's a thin film of bioluminescent bacteria on top of the window which can be exchanged. And the solar panel, it's ironic, is actually embedded inside the window frame. So we can't even actually see the solar panel, and it works better than current models. Thankfully, for us consumers who believe in the power of value, this system isn't that expensive for the amount of electricity that it's going to be producing. Bacteria, once the original colony is grown, multiplies infinitely, and we can have bacteria farms in no time at all. Only small solar cells are being used with this model, and so it's not really all that expensive. In fact, after looking at some research done by MIT and following one of their calculations, I found that for a 100,000 square foot building, we would save approximately $186,000 by using this method over traditional solar panels. And that's more than my college tuition right there. So there we have it. A new source of renewable energy that actually works pretty well. And I had an interest in this issue as a little 8th grader, and with enough thought and hard work, it became something that I am proud of, a milestone in my dream. I hope that I can patent my idea someday.
Yes, she can.
Thank you, Amy. She's one of the lawyers who's working with me on patenting the idea right now, so thank you, Miss Amy. And one of the most common questions I get asked is, where are you now? Like I said earlier, I am a sophomore at the University of Houston. I work as a student leader at the STEM Center. Been talking a lot today, where I still get to participate in science fair, not as a competitor, but as an administrator and mentor. And working at the STEM Center has opened up a whole new chapter of opportunities for me, and I get to share my story at events like these. Also, my boss is here today, Dr. Domian. I wouldn't be here without her. After science fair, I always thought that I would pursue a career in the energy industry, but I was always very passionate about medicine. So I decided to major in a special program at the University of Houston, Honors Biomedical Sciences. And it's my hope that I get accepted into medical school in the near future and expand my research skills in medicine as well. Outside of school, I love to spend time with my family. I have a big extended Indian family, and that's always a lot of fun. My dad's here today, so big round of applause for my dad. I like to express my creativity through art as well as science, of course. And there's 2 of my paintings down there. And recently, I've taken a liking to a new art form. I started my own Instagram makeup page. So like every Instagrammer, I'll encourage you guys to look me up and leave me likes. Follow me. I'll end with this. Always remember that what you do, what you believe in, how you choose to spend your time is your choice. Always let your passion motivate you in whatever you do, whether that's creating a new type of solar energy or starting a makeup Instagram. Put your positive energy into your goals, your dreams, and always, always remember,
Yes!